So this little door here is where you have access to your winterizing valves. In 216, you had to climb in through the back compartment and reach around and by feel find a valve to turn it on and off for the bypass for the hot water heater if you wanted to winterize. And not a big deal if you only winterize once a year. Beth and I use this camp a lot. I winterized 216, I don't even know how many times. We've only had Camp Liberty since I think October, and I've winterized it probably 8 or 10 times already, because we'll haul it down to the ranch, spend 3 or 4 days, and then put it back in storage. And because it gets below freezing here in Southern Oregon, I would always winterize. The one thing you don't want to do is crack a valve or a fitting and go through the expense and inconvenience of replacing that. So one thing I asked for when we spec'd out Camp Liberty was some sort of external, easily available access to the winterizing valves, and that's what this port is for here. So there's a bypass valve for the hot water heater, and it's very easy to get to, and I think it's a great solution. 2 ways that I know of for winterizing. One is to pump antifreeze throughout the whole system, which is what we did this year. In 216, I also had a fitting where I blew compressed air. I have that fitting for Camp Liberty, but this year pretty much we've just siphoned antifreeze through the system. Now this is the water heater. One thing I did here is I removed the stop fitting for the tank, the drain fitting, and I added a short section of stainless steel hose and a small valve and cap. And when I'm ready to winterize, I don't have to get in here with that little wrench and open up the valve to drain the tank. Whoever engineered that never winterized an RV. You have to get in here with this little valve, and you've got all these sharp edges and no access, and you're making small movements on that fitting. So with this, all I do is leave my cover down, I remove the cap, open up the valve, and the tank just drains out. And if I'm using compressed air, I just run compressed air until there's no more water. If I'm running antifreeze, one thing, I just open up this valve and leave it open with a bucket on the bottom, and if there's any extra water that drains out, it goes right into there. So that's a helpful little upgrade to do. If you're ever on the road and you see Camp Liberty and you spend a little time with us in the evening, you will be blessed with Beth's street tacos. Truly amazing. But this is super nice. This pulls out and you can cook right here underneath your awning. And then this is the place to stow the little rod to pull down the awning. So this is a great little space. And then this light is set up so that if you're cooking at nighttime, you've got illumination with a switch right underneath here. So this is the back compartment on Camp Liberty. Beth and I made a little logo and sticker. So if you're following us, you'll get an idea of what we're about. You can follow us on Instagram and YouTube, Camp Liberty, Peak Mountain Camps in Utah. And we did this because, trust me, if you get one of these, you want to figure probably an extra hour every day on the road from destination to final point, because every time you pull into a rest stop or a fuel stop, you're going to get folks coming up wanting to ask about the camp. It does draw a lot of attention. Sometimes I just don't make eye contact because I want to get going. Beth loves to give tours of Camp Liberty and Camp 216. So I figure if we're going from one place to another, I should add about an hour because we're going to get tours at every fuel stop or rest stop. So that's what that's about. If you want to learn more about these camps, you can go to peakmountaincamps.com. They are in Spring City, Utah, not Mount Pleasant. And there's their phone number. I'll put links down below, of course. Now, one thing that they did, and this is an improvement on Camp Liberty over 216, They really have done a good job with these exterior compartment doors. They are built pretty much like a Navy hatch. So they're recessed. There's a bulb seal and then an external seal. Any water that gets in is going to hit this portion of the hatch and drain out. It does not get past that. So back here I carry our sewer support stuff. This is that little wedge that I'll put in front of one of the tires and have Beth pull forward until we are level in side-to-side orientation. This is also where I keep the lock for the hitch. I don't have that on here while we're at Mountain View Ranch. And then one thing that Beth and I got this year with Camp Liberty that we didn't have for 216, and I think we are lucky we didn't run into trouble, is a heated water hose. We were camped down here in Southern Oregon, and it dropped down, what was it, 16 degrees or something. And I got up in the morning to go to the bathroom, flush the toilet. There was a little squirt of water, then nothing. And I thought, I wonder what happened. I was afraid maybe there was a water problem. And luckily there wasn't a water problem, but our hose was frozen solid. And then I realized that we could have gotten into trouble. And Beth and I went out and got a heated water hose, and that made the rest of the week no problems. We had no trouble with water flow. So if you're going to be in cold weather, which this camp is designed to do, it's a full 4-season camp, do yourself a favor and get a heated water hose. Back here is the freshwater tank. There's a panel that sits in here. I have that removed right now. I added a little sound deadening insulation. This is where you access your drain valve for the freshwater tank and also the valve for siphoning antifreeze into the system when you're winterizing.